WEZL on the web at WEZL.com.
That's Rascal Flatts and Summer Nights on the Weasel.
It is.
Yes, it is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it my turn? I'm sorry. Hey, look, I was watching Anthony Bourdain. You ever watch Anthony Bourdain, No Reservations?
That's the food
on the
guy,
Travel
right?
Channel. I just love that show. It is so raw and absolutely, it's just a good show. He travels all over the world because he's a food writer and stuff, and a chef, and he has all these friends who are chefs all over the world. Mm-hmm. So he goes to them, and they take him to the neighborhood places to show him what the food is really like in that particular town or region or country or whatever it is.
So he's not setting out to eat bizarre foods.
No, that's a Andrew somebody. That's a different guy, Zimmerman. I think.
But the couple of times I've seen him, he's had some pretty weird things to eat.
They feed him. He goes to eat what the locals eat. Sometimes it's incredibly familiar and delicious. Sometimes it's a little bizarre. But these guys that he goes to visit are like world-class chefs that happen to cook, and they've started their own little place in some little something. And they'll take him. Well, this is where we all go eat breakfast. This is where the locals eat breakfast at something waffle and chicken house.
Yeah.
And they'll sit down and try to figure out what that's all about, and talk about it, and they'll eat it and have a beer. He drinks a lot. And then they'll go somewhere else and have a walk. They'll walk along and eat something at the stand on the way, and talk to the old lady that's running the stand, and she's been there 100 years. And then they'll eat lunch, and then they'll have a mid-afternoon snack, and then they'll eat dinner, and then they'll drink late. And I mean, it's just
that's what he does for a living.
That's what he does for a living.
Wow.
And yesterday he was in Los Angeles. He was in Hollywood, showing the real side, the other side of Hollywood, and how people ate and how they lived, and talking to them about it. It's really a good show. And one of the groups he got hooked up with was he called a subculture of roller derby. And I'd forgotten roller derby. I used to watch it as a kid.
Right.
Did you ever watch roller derby?
Yeah, I used to watch it.
Does it even still come on anywhere?
I've never seen it on TV. I know they've got a local roller derby team here.
And I remembered that. I had forgotten that I'd heard rumblings about a women's roller derby team here in Charleston, part of a league apparently.
Yeah.
It's not like they just get together here, but in Los Angeles they did. That's what they were doing. Actually, they had like a league that had 4 teams, and once a week they got together and they rolled against each other, and it was just incredible to watch.
Yeah.
Low Country High Rollers is the name of the local outfit.
Do they do that at like just a skating rink?
I think somebody told me they do this over at the Omar Temple of the Shrine.
Right here in Mount Pleasant?
Yeah, they come in and set a rink up. Like they used to travel like wrestlers did.
Yes, they did.
And,
Really?
and the roller derby folks would come to your town, and they'd set up the roller rink just like the wrestling ring, and you'd pay to watch them, and you had your favorites, and you had those you hated. And
now, are there good girls and bad
Oh, yeah.
It's
girls?
just like wrestling.
It's
just like wrestling.
But it's not necessarily fake, is it?
Well, yeah.
I mean, when they throw an elbow,
Well, see,
an elbow.
They're that good at it. I mean, you're going to fall. But in wrestling, you fall too.
Okay.
I mean, it's all. Now this stuff may be a little more real. I don't know. This, local stuff. I don't know. But they actually have a league, and they actually, I think they said their next game is coming up. Well, it says right here on their MySpace page. The next home bout, 8/29/09 against the Greenville Derby Dames. And I'm just trying to imagine roller derby in today's world. It just seems like something out of the 60s, 50s, and 60s,
Is roller derby generally just for ladies?
No. I don't know what it is now, but it used to be. You'd have a ladies' match, and then you'd have a men's match, and they always travel together. And usually some bad guy on one of the teams would end up beating up on a girl on the other team, and then they'd have a big fight because then the guys on the girls' team would have to beat up all the guys on the other team. And, I mean, it was always
But it was staged, right? They come out.
Oh, the whole thing was, yeah.
Come out of the back or whatever.
They had, their coaches. In fact, I wish I could remember her name. They had at one point, I can't remember her name. She was the coach.
The Fabulous Moolah?
No. This lady was the coach, and boy, she was mean. She was mean.
Is that right?
I can't remember her name, but I remember her face. And she was one. She had a stick or something, and when the referee wasn't looking, she'd slap somebody in the back of the head. And I mean, it was
So it's just like wrestling.
just like wrestling, except they do it on roller skates.
And they get mean. I mean, they really get down and knock each other around, throw them over the rail and all that stuff.
I mean, they had a couple of movies. They had was it Kansas City Bomber? Was that the one with Raquel Welch?
I remember something like that.
They had a whole movie. James Caan. I mean, it was big enough that they did a big movie about it in the 70s. They had
Wow.
Rollerball. Remember the movie Rollerball? It was big enough that they kind of they expected it to be a futuristic sport. But apparently it is still something that people do. Mm-hmm. And I really did not know. I thought it had died off with drive-in theaters.
Yeah, I haven't seen it for the longest time.
And I was just curious whether, maybe we had a roller derby participant listening. Because I'd like to, just talk to him a second. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you've ever done the roller derby, or maybe you are doing the roller derby,
or maybe you are a low country
high roller.
Maybe you're listening this morning and you're on that team.
Yeah.
Have you been to a match before, or is that what they're called, matches?
I've never.
Back when it was popular, back in.
No, I used to watch them on TV.
For some reason, when I was a kid, I used to think, did it come on Wide World of Sports? Sometimes.
I don't think so. I think it was like Saturday night. If you couldn't get wrestling, you had roller derby. Isn't that what you remember?
Because I know that I've seen it before, but the only place I would have seen it would have been as a child and as Wide World of Sports or something, when they did those bizarre type sporting events.
It says here the Low Country team is still looking for women 21 and over that want to skate. Special practice on Thursday nights for fresh meat, so they can get comfortable on your skates.
I may sign my wife up. She's been looking for another way to try to exercise.
They've got a website.
I'd get her some exercise.
Practice schedule. They practice at Hot Wheels on Folly Road.
I bet old Darlene do a good job at roller derby.
She'd be one. What they call those? The ones that wore the little white hats and the scorers. The little ones that they'd grab and the great big ones would do the slingshot, and they'd go flying around and they'd zip through four people and do an elbow and five, make them all fall down and win with no time left on the clock.
I think Darlene would be, one of the bad guys in there. Like, she'd be throwing an elbow or coming with a clothesline or something. Not that she's not that person in real life. I'm just saying that.
Well,
that
look
could
at
be
Gary.
her character.
Yeah, she could do that.
Yeah, she beats him up on a regular basis. Anyway, I was just curious. I used to watch it growing up. I know. It was not as big as wrestling because I didn't think roller derby was real, but it was a lot of fun.
Something to see.
It was a lot of fun, and those girls in Los Angeles seemed to be enjoying themselves.
Absolutely.
It's 7, and then they'd all go out drinking afterwards.
Just like that guy that hosts the TV show.
He was with them.
Okay.
Yeah, they drank him under the table. It's
I bet they did.
7:39 at WEZL. Now.